Where do I begin? My name is Bob Burke, and I grew up in Newton like my friend, Councilor Brian Yates. I'll tell you one thing about Brian. Brian doesn't sing his own praises. He's been working tirelessly for the people of Newton for many, many years, but he won't tell you about it. But I will.
They started calling it Echo Bridge.
This Upper Falls was really the real birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution because it preceded Slater's Mill in Pawtucket, and they did use the mills for certain things here.
Well, that's true.
Brian was the founder of Friends of Hemlock Gorge and is committed to protecting the natural and historic beauty of this place.
You want to try it out?
Yes, let's re-elect Brian Yates. Brian Yates, City Councilor. City Councilor. At large. On November 7th.
My great-great-great-grandfather, Samuel Corey Richardson, who fought in the Battle of Lexington and Concord, is buried here.
Brian's family has been in Newton since the 1700s. Some people think he and I have been here that long too, but we only look that way.
That is me, third from
Brian lives in Upper Falls in a 19th century mill worker house. And he is dedicated to preserving the history and supporting businesses and residents of this mill village. Brian respects what he calls village values, which equates to supporting village businesses, neighborhood schools, area councils.
We really appreciate, Brian, that you come to our area council meetings.
And decision-making by local residents about how their villages or neighborhoods might change. Brian was one of the authors of Newton's Comprehensive Plan. He succeeded in having the Charleston Principles, a landmark ordinance, the Community Preservation Act, and the Main Streets Program for Historic Preservation adopted by Newton.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Community preservation is one reason why he voted against replacing village commercial areas with MU4 luxury apartment buildings. And to protect abutters from having to go to court to save their neighborhoods from property speculators.
Work it out, I won't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it.
And he knows that village retail and high-skills corporate workplaces, wherever appropriate, provide the commercial tax revenue needed to correct Newton's fiscal crisis and billion-dollar unfunded debt. We can't keep replacing our commercial base with unsustainable high-density housing developments that cost more in city services than they generate in tax revenue. That's why Brian opposes selling off village parking lots, owned by the public, to private developers.
So, Bob, you and I both know what it's like to go to a school and then it gets closed down.
Surplusing and selling off our schools years ago and having to buy back city assets was a mistake Newton should not repeat. Brian is also practical. Since most people can't give up driving, let's make our cars and parking lots greener with trees, electric car chargers, and car sharing. He knows we need parking lots to support village businesses, shoppers, and people who park to take the tea. Brian is committed to public transit because he knows people, particularly low-income people, depend on it. He worked hard to save the 59 bus route that serves several Newton villages. He supports safer streets for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers. No one in Newton is more dedicated to seniors than Brian. He supports means-tested property tax relief and better services to help seniors age in place and genuinely affordable senior units for those who need them. As a senior, he understands our needs. Brian has a big heart and strongly supports efforts to help those facing the opioid crisis. He has always been the leading advocate for Newton's most vulnerable low-income residents, and he supports creating neighborhood-scaled affordable housing projects and measures to protect modest homes that are affordable to young families. And Brian understands how much the Newton Public Schools mean to families, because like me, he was educated in them and wants to maintain their excellence. To address inequities, he supports walkable neighborhood schools in good condition for every child in Newton, full-day kindergarten, and later high school start times. Brian is an environmentalist and an advocate who enabled the city to be eligible for state and federal funding for parks, playing fields, and open space like Webster Woods. He supports a zero-waste, 100% renewable plan for Newton and sponsored our participation in the U.S. Department of Energy's Million Solar Roofs program. My friend is very proud of the role he played in helping to save the Auburndale and Woburn branch libraries for community use. Having meeting spaces in each village fosters a sense of community, volunteerism, and grassroots local democracy, something Brian thinks is crucial, which is why he supports ward-elected councilors and will vote no on the charter change ballot question. With his deep knowledge of Newton's history, issues, and zoning ordinance, he is ready to work with other councilors on the tough questions of zoning reform, change, and fiscal sustainability. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Bob. My name is Brian Yates. I'm running for re-election to the Newton City Council. I'm running from Ward 5, but all of Newton can vote for me on Tuesday, November 7th. So thank you again, Bob.
Thank you.
Brian!